Welcome to Democracy-ish. Ish is right. I am Danielle Moody.
And I'm Wajhat Ali, and thankfully my skull has been cracked by ice and there's been no tear gas or flashbang grenades yet. And we are in Virginia worried about a snowstorm, and you would think in normal times, Danielle, that would be the only things we would worry about. Oh, 12 inches of snow, 10 inches of snow, 15 inches of snow. Are we going to be snowed in? Should we have some hot cocoa? Maybe I'll go get groceries. Oh, but this country decided to re-elect Donald Trump, and now we have to worry about this mother effer bringing down the entire country and the world as he dies and farts and limps his way towards death and engages in a Festivus and rage and tries to acquire more and more and more. And then, of course, there's Stephen Miller with his ninth grade white nationalist inside his body, leaping out for joy, unleashing ice to crack skulls. So anyway, that's what's happening in the United States of America, because this dumb country decided to re-elect Donald Trump because white supremacy, greed, and fear of trans students who barely exist. How are you doing, Danielle?
This has been I said this, I think, on Wednesday on our midweek check-in. Wednesday marked like 1 week of me being back in the country, and it is just so disturbing, disgusting, disheartening to be here, and just watch everything unfold. And the fact that you use the word yet, right, when talking about ICE hasn't cracked our skulls yet, is the fact that what is happening in Minnesota, what's been transpiring there for weeks, is going to come to a city, town near you. And that is what is so disturbing, is that, today, I, like you, Waj, am, in the path of the storm, right? That is going to basically put about 100 million plus people in danger, with whether with ice or significant snowfall, particularly in the South, in places that just don't do well. That includes fucking Virginia, because I lived there for 20 years.
You remember, yeah.
Virginia and DC can't handle 2 inches of snow, half
You
an
can't
inch of
handle
snow.
anything. This place can't handle
Can't
anything.
let alone a foot of snow. So, go get your groceries, make sure all your devices are charged, make sure that you have batteries and, all the things, warm blankets, all the things, in the event that the grids fail where you are. But I want to start off today because I was going to the grocery store, and I'm, watching everybody in my neighborhood kind of go about their business and prepare. And I'm just like, what will it, and in my head, I said, what will it be like to be going to the CVS and the Key Food when there are tanks on the street and it's flooded with ice? Will I even go to the store? Will I just then have to rely on the sycophantic billionaire Jeff Bezos and have everything delivered because I'm terrified to go outside? And like, these are the thoughts that enter my mind when I'm out doing basic things, right? Like basic things that I wonder, what is life going to be like a week from now, a month from now, etc. So,
I mean, no,
yeah, go
no,
ahead.
I mean, exactly what you said. And before we get to Minnesota, this is
Yeah.
why last week, folks, in the United States of America, not due to COVID, not due to some, natural disaster, not due to, thankfully, nobody is invading us, nothing like that. You had school shut down. You had people say, you can't go to school and we shouldn't go to school. We want to protect our neighborhoods because I just want to put it in stark terms.
Yep.
The United States government, the Trump administration, has unleashed masked armed agents to terrorize fellow Americans. That's why last week school shut down in Minnesota. When it was COVID and schools probably should have shut down and things should have shut down, this upside down, self-destructive, insane country was like, oh, no, no, no. Let's go breathe in the COVID. Let's go get herd immunity. We can't shut anything down. Why are you wearing masks, you libtard? Oh, no, let's spread the disease. Let's go have insane rallies. And Godfather Pizza Herman Cain went there and died. Trump literally killed Herman Cain. I just want people to remember
No,
that. Right?
Herman Cain's dumbass killed himself because he should have fucking known better. Like,
He
so
showed up.
you know what? Herman Cain killed himself because he decided that his proximity to whiteness was going to give him some type of protection and guard from COVID, and he's fucking dead. And I don't care.
Yeah, I don't care either. I just want. Yeah, I don't care either. He died, but look at this upside down country. Hey, can we protect ourselves? No. Can we have vaccines? No. Do you want to spread measles? Yes. I mean, James Cameron, the director, right? Director of Terminator 2, Titanic, Avatar. He was filmed right now. He did an interview and he was doing a press tour in America, right? He lives in New Zealand now, by the way. And so he
Oh,
went
I
on
didn't
like
know
one,
that.
yeah, he moved to New Zealand with his family.
That's good.
So he was doing the final of his press tour, and he was about to get on a plane. And they asked him, like, well, why do you live in New Zealand? He went on like this 1 minute rant. He goes, why the hell wouldn't I live in New Zealand, right? I live in New Zealand because in New Zealand, we get vaccinated. We stop diseases. Why would I want to live in the United States of America? You know, I'm living in New Zealand not because of the scenery, it's because of the safety. So of course,
Wow.
why would I ever want to move? This guy's an American, so he
Yep.
just went blunt on a 1 minute like rant about why he is in New Zealand. It's not because of the scenery, it's because he literally wants to be safe and live in an environment where people care about each other. And in the United States of America now, why would you want to come to this country? Think about it, Daniel. Why would you want to come to this country? There's a World Cup about to happen, folks. A World Cup's about to happen. And the United States of America is saying 75 of the 193 countries, we don't like you. Our president thinks you come from a shithole country. And by the way, we're going to go after immigrants, undocumented immigrants, legal immigrants, citizens. We have white nationalists running the Department of Labor and DHS Twitter accounts. Oh, but by the way, come to this country and spend money, you dark piece of shit.
You know, it's again, I will say this. It used to be that when I would travel abroad, that people would be excited to like, oh, where are you from in America? I have family there. Like, oh, what are you doing here? And just, little small talk as you're, doing an excursion or shopping or, hanging out. And now when I travel, it is like, ooh, how are you? Like, how is it as bad as I read and watch? Like, ooh, are you thinking about leaving? Like, those are, and it from Nairobi to Paris, like, that's the reaction that people have. And it's
I mean, that
so
was our reaction just 3 weeks ago. We were
right.
both away.
Right. And I was like, it's so embarrassing now. It's almost as if like I wish I could fake another accent so people wouldn't know where I was from.
Bust
Like,
out the Jamaican. Bust out the Jamaican.
like I said, I want to pretend I'm from someplace else because they look at you like, so your country voted for that again? Huh.
Can I tell you my
Interesting.
story, which really pissed off the right wing and went viral? But it's true. My cousin last year in Pakistan, he was born and raised in Karachi, got educated here, went back to Karachi. So he was thinking about just visiting and scoping out the scene last year, right after Donald Trump got elected, like 2 months afterwards. And he's like, "Yeah, I was gonna buy a ticket, but I'm gonna hold off. It looks kind of rough in the United States of America." He's in Karachi, folks. I was in France, and I told everyone I didn't vote for him. I didn't vote for him. Taxi cab driver, he's like, he's a terrible man. There was a young, a couple of French kids, universities, right? One of them wore a hat, "Make China Great Again," just to troll. Like this was just in a mall, right? And then in Egypt, Egypt, okay, a lot of upheaval. They face dictatorships. They have an authoritarian regime right now, and they're like, "Oh yeah, America. Ooh, that's sad." So pity,
Yep.
sadness,
Yep.
anger, confusion.
Yeah.
Not pride, not joy, not wow, America. In the 80s and early 90s, they were like, America, oh wow.
Yeah, like,
That's
"Oh,
gone, folks.
I'd like to get there sometime," or
Yeah.
like, again, they'll tell you about a family member or what have you, and now it's just like, "Ooh, don't think I'll be there again," and I don't know, maybe at some point when you all get your shit together.
You need a vaccine? I got one. Do you want one? I got one.
Jesus Christ. Like, and I say this, and I've said this before, and then we'll transition into Minnesota. I've said that, you know, I am increasingly concerned that as Donald Trump now goes back to his threats against Europe and basically threats against the world, that it is not out of the realm of possibility, Waj, that they shut their borders to us. There are already, like, I think 15 nations in Africa that have offered up retaliatory bans on the United States and won't allow people from the United States to enter. But I can envision a world
Of course.
in where the UK, France, Italy, places in Europe are just like, "Ooh, if you want to come here for Americans, that visa is going to run you about $500 or $1,000, or we don't want you at all." Right? Like, I can imagine a world in which that happens, and it happens relatively soon.
And imagine if we're all are also diseased.
What do you mean? Imagine, like,
I,
I mean, like, how many how many children died of the measles in the last year? How many measles outbreaks have there been, on top of COVID outbreaks, on top of the fact that, and then we'll move into Minnesota. But here's the thing that really concerns me. I've known of four different people ranging in age from their 40s to their 90s, actually, who were hospitalized over the holidays because of the flu.
mm,
And I do not trust, obviously, our current CDC. Now we are no longer a member of the World Health Organization.
yep.
That what people are being hospitalized by is actually just like a flu. Because, in all honesty, we wouldn't know, right? Like, we would have no idea. But I have known people from their 40s to their 90s that have been hospitalized
Yeah,
because
it's the
of that.
worst. It's the worst
Yeah.
rates right now of influenza, and this was this was before the flu season started. So in addition to measles, there's influenza, and there's also now whooping cough, and COVID's still around. And God forbid if any of these things mutate. Well, if you have another pandemic, it's over. And we have a CDC run by a pro-death merchant, RFK Jr. And as we go to Minnesota, when we talk about what's happening in an American city, in an American town, done by our own hands. I just want people to, it's not an outsider. We destroyed ourselves. And the reason why
Yep.
we destroyed ourselves is because of greed, hate, fear, celebrity, racism. And if you're China right now, and if you're Russia, and if you're an enemy of the United States of America or of the post-World War II order, you're probably sitting there smoking a cigar, drinking chai. You're like, this is amazing. We did not have to fire a single bullet. These dumbasses
Mm-mm.
destroyed themselves.
I'm telling you, the vodka must be flowing from the faucets in Russia as they
You will
celebrate.
not have water, but we will give you
We
vodka
did
to
get vodka
celebrate the downfall of
in
America.
America. We knew it was coming. All right.
Danielle should do that accent. Goes, I am not the American.
I
I'm
am not
Russian.
American. I am Russian.
Danielle,
Black
what type
Russian.
of name is Moody? It is old Russian name.
Oh God. Okay. We laugh so that we don't cry. So where are we today in Minnesota? So again, been talking about this, been praying on this, have been willing labor unions and other businesses to link arms and get together and to begin what I hope is going to be a national strike. But the
Mm,
folks in Minnesota strike to protest ICE surge in state today. No work, no school, no shopping. And this is from The Guardian. A no work, no school, no shopping blackout day of protest was kicked off by community leaders, faith leaders, and labor unions on Friday in protest against ICE surge in the state. The day of truth and freedom protest comes in the wake of the killing of Renee Good, the unarmed woman killed by a federal immigration officer in Minneapolis earlier this month. Their demands include that ICE leave Minnesota, that ICE officer who killed Good be legally held accountable, and an end to additional federal funding for ICE, and for the agency to be investigated for human rights and constitutional violations. The Guardian goes on to say this: hundreds of local businesses, hundreds, folks. And I just finished watching as thousands of protesters are at the airport in Minneapolis in the departures area, at the length of the departure area, thousands of people are there and protesting. Hundreds of local businesses in Minnesota have announced closures in solidarity. Thousands of people are expected to call out from work to join the action, while others will participate by not shopping on Friday. The Minneapolis City Council endorsed the day of action and the general strike. The state's cultural institutions, including the Walker Art Center, the Minneapolis Institute of Art, the Science Museum of Minnesota, and the Minnesota Children's Museum, will be closed as well on Friday. The day of action culminates with a march in downtown Minneapolis at 2 p.m. local time. The march will end with a rally inside Target Center Arena in downtown. And they say this: we are going to be having dangerously cold weather on Friday, negative 10 degrees.
Wow.
I mean, when I tell you, when I'm seeing these people who have not left the streets in Minnesota, they are fucking, what we say in New York, gully, because it is negative 10 degrees. That is beyond fucking brick. That is like if you were out and don't have face covering, you could come back with, like, you know, your face chafed off. Like the high is going to be negative 10 with wind chills of up to negative 20. And
That's
I've
wild.
already seen thousands of people out. We are a northern state and we are built for the cold, and we are going to show up. But folks are going to need to pay attention to not just the march, but what people are doing, the individual stories of solidarity that people are going to be doing. Waj, your thoughts?
Fantastic. I just saw Ilhan Omar posted it. It's this poster to get ICE out, 2 p.m. ICE out of Minnesota, Day of Truth and Freedom, as Danielle said. March downtown, no shopping, no school, no work. And furthermore, faith leaders have said, quote, hundreds of Minnesota places of worship are participating in the January 23rd anti-ICE rally. So all of these white Christian nationalists and all these MAGA folks were really upset about the protesters who disrupted that one service, and they tried to do this Justice Department investigation. Don Lemon, and a judge threw it out. He's like, I'm not even going to waste my time. It's going to be pretty weird when you're going to have churches and synagogues and mosques all aligned and telling you, get the F out. They've overreached with ICE. But the sad part is, with the overreach, we knew this was going to happen, Danielle. And what we've been warning about democracy-ish is, once you get fascism, it's really, really, really hard to remove it. Eventually, fascists turn on themselves, fellow fascists. Eventually, fascism crumbles. But before it does, it takes everything else with it. Imagine all the destruction, all the institutions, all the people, the memories, the stories, the narratives. They get wiped out, right? There's a great movie I saw that just got nominated called The Secret Agent. And The Secret Agent, Wagner Moura got nominated. It's a Brazilian movie, and that movie talks about living under the authoritarian regime of Brazil. And specifically, what happens is people get disappeared, memories are erased, the past is forgotten, right? People can't trust anyone else, right? But in these moments, you see solidarity, you see community, you see networks, but so much is lost, so much is taken away, Danielle. And we've already seen, okay, great, like, this is fantastic that there's resistance. I love this. This is awesome. We need more of this. But it took all of this, Danielle,
Yep.
for this to happen, right?
Yep.
Like, it took the murder, and what we said, I know people might not like hearing this. We
Come on.
kind of predicted it.
Yep.
It took the blood of an unarmed white woman
Yep.
for America to finally wake up and say, oh, and this is what Black folks figured out in 1964.
Come on.
Oh, they don't care about us. But in that summer, if we have that freedom summer, and if we actually are aligned with young white boys and girls who are the children of privileged white folks, and America sees all of us in solidarity, getting our skulls cracked, that's when America will wake up. And that's what happened. I think the murder of Renee Nicole Good, all it takes is a spark, right? Like George Floyd, which, folks, he was murdered a mile away from Renee Nicole Good. A mile. Renee Nicole Good, to this day, they're now calling her a domestic terrorist. To this day, we're going to talk about it in a second. They're saying that, she was trained and weaponized to fight against ICE. And more of the information is coming out that she was straight up murdered. And not only was she murdered, folks, she lay there bleeding to death for 8 minutes, and they denied any medical treatment.
Right.
I think white America, Danielle,
Mm-hmm.
seeing that and then realizing, oh, this is what's been happening against the blacks, and wait for it, the browns, because CBP has disappeared and or killed thousands of people, Danielle. If this is what it takes for people to wake up, so be it. But all I'm saying is I'm really happy to see this, but we might be too far into it for the damage to be undone. That's what I'm saying.
Look. And here's what I will say. The damage is not going to be undone. What we are trying here, I think, is for the damage to cease spreading, right?
That's right.
It's
That's
like we recognize that the vitriol and the hatred and the white nationalism and the slave patrols and the Nazism has spread, right? And what we are trying to do, it has metastasized. What we are trying to do is stop it, right? Is to target the areas, right? And stop it. And so I think that, and again, I have said this, we have been saying this for the last year, that the only thing that trumps whiteness is green. A national strike is what we need. And so I hope that folks see, I pray that folks see a dent or a scratch of the Minnesotans strike today. And then they say, you know what? We need to do that shit in every state. What day are we picking? Right? And that we need to start. Remember back, and not remember as if we were there, but during World War I and World War II, there would be days where it was like meatless Mondays, and we're not going to do this on certain days because we were, the country and the world was in restriction mode, right?
Rally against the Nazis. Yes, propaganda videos.
And so I'm saying if it isn't going to be a outright national strike I think that it should be weekly, right? Like 1 day a week, 2 days a week, right? In every fucking state, we strike. We don't shop. We don't go to school. We do nothing. We shut the shit down. And you keep doing it, and it keeps getting bigger and bigger and bigger until they take notice, because that's the only thing that matters. White blood and striking. Like, that's it. And, when folks want to believe like, oh, racism, oh, we're so past that post-racial fucking, the tingle down the leg with Obama. Oh, look at all of these things that we have. It's like, no one took action when we announced that over 30 people had been murdered in ICE custody because they were brown people and they were undocumented. And guess what? They were still fucking human beings that shouldn't have died in custody.
Yeah.
Right? No one reacted, and there was no national news when Keith Porter was murdered by an off-duty ICE agent on New Year's Eve. No national news, no national story until Renee Good, a white woman, is murdered. Then it's like, oh my God, because the assumption all the time is that black and brown bodies, black and brown people deserve what comes to them. But white people, it is always the presumption of innocence, right? And so that's when you get the national coverage, the outrage, the memorials, all of these things that happen. So people want to say like, oh, this is not who we are. We're better than this. Well, no, the fuck you're not. No, you are not. Because ask yourselves why no one knew about who Keith Porter was until Renee Nicole Good was murdered. Right? Like, ask yourselves why we're trickling up the conversation with regard to, which we'll talk about in a moment, Liam Ramos, the baby, the 5-year-old who is now in detention. And if that baby were white, would we have stopped everything in this moment? Would we be using social media in this way to try and get national attention to the fact that a baby is in detention right now? So that's my rant.
Geraldo Nunes Campos, 55 years old, yesterday, Cuban immigrant in ICE detention, died. They did an autopsy, released the autopsy. Guess what, folks? Homicide. Ask yourself how many brown and black bodies have disappeared. And we don't have to even go back that far in the past year. And there's a reason why we're saying this. It's not I told you so. It's because we tried our best to warn. specifically on democracyish. We said, look what's happening to Rumeza Ozturk. And now we just found out that the reason why deliberately they abducted Rumeza Ozturk. Remember Rumeza Ozturk, the 30-year-old
In
grad
the Columbia,
student in Boston?
in Tufts.
Tufts. She was going walking towards iftar in the sunlight. They were waiting for her, and then her neighbors literally filmed her being abducted. She got kidnapped, and then she got sent to Louisiana Detention Center. Today it was released. The specific reason why they abducted her is because she wrote an op-ed. She wrote
Well,
an op-ed.
we knew that.
Yeah, but it was, they were like, oh no, we think this and that, but now it was clearly written. That's like they literally said, oh, she wrote this op-ed, go get her, right? With Mahmoud Khalil, they did this BS about, oh, he committed crimes, no crimes committed, nothing, all BS, right? All fiction. Kilmar Abrego Garcia, they lied about him. They had no removal order. They just picked him up because he was brown. Then they tried to make some stuff about it to justify it. Couldn't do it, right? 230 people kidnapped, and the only person who went and got proof of life was Chris Van Hollen. And the reason why he was the only person to get proof of life is because at that time, a year ago, this country said, I don't know, maybe everyone's becoming like Joe Rogan. Donald Trump won. Let's abandon our principles. Let's attack the woke. Let's attack weak. Let's pass the Lake and Riley Act. Let's say nothing as they go after pro-Palestine activists. And Chris Van Hollen was the only Democrat. Remember this, Danielle. No other Democrat went with him.
Yeah, we know.
He went all the way to El Salvador and said, I will not leave until I get proof of life of Kilmar Abrego Garcia. He's from Maryland. I'm the senator from Maryland. And he's the one who brought him back in the news, which then, if you will, accelerated the call to get Kilmar Abrego Garcia out. You need fighters. But instead of fighters, folks, we have feckless, weak, centrist, complicit Vichy Democrats. And I think I'm going to call them Vichy Democrats. We've seen these Democrats who are collaborators, Vichy Democrats, because they were the ones who were collaborators with the Nazis. I call them collaborators. And you saw this moment after we haven't even gone into everything. We've just given you a taste of what ICE has done. You would think, Danielle, you just use Renee Nicole Good. The murder of Renee Nicole Good in broad daylight, multiple camera angles, an unarmed white mom shot and killed after dropping off her kid in a Honda Pilot with stuffed animals. Her final words were, I'm not mad at you, man. The guy, Officer Ross, takes his gun, shoots her 3 times, walks there, sees she's dead. Oh, by the way, calls her an effing B. Then calmly walks to his car, drives away. Donald Trump lies to us, says she violently ran her over. The same day, Kristi Noem calls her a domestic terrorist. The next day, we find out because 10 attorneys resign that the DOJ, instead of investigative officer Ross, is going to investigate her wife. That alone should be enough for people to get pissed off and say, I'm not going to fund DHS and ICE. F that. Forget everything else we've said, right? And you would think now, you've seen the polls. A week after she was murdered, 52 to 54% of Americans, right? A majority said, yeah, I'm not down with ICE. Remarkable. In 1 week, it turned around. You would think, with everything I just said, haven't even gone to the Nazi stuff and Greg Bovino and the 5-year-old kid and Minnesota. Just focus on that. You would think Democrats unanimously would be like, you know what? The tide has turned. We're not going to fund DHS and ICE. Tell them what happened yesterday, Daniel.
Well, you would be fucking wrong if that was what you were betting on, because they're worthless. And so because we have the names here of the 7 Democrats that voted with Republicans to continue funding this Nazi regime. And I just want you to know what actual states they are from, because I had to, okay. So you have, you have here, Jared Golden, Maine. Anybody from Maine watching? This is your guy. You fucking call his office. You tell him you're about to be primaried. You're worthless. Then you have.
Guess what? Look how. Can I say something real quick before you go on? He's such a coward. He's retiring, and he still did this, Daniel.
Yeah, you have Marie Gluesenkamp Perez, who, by the way, child of immigrants. Texas is where she is from. Anyone from Texas, she's done. Okay. Henry Cuellar, Texas. Cuellar. Again. Cuellar. Done. Call his office, Henry Cuellar. Then you have Tom, who I'm embarrassed by, Suozzi. I forget how to pronounce his
Who
name. How do
cares?
you
New
say it?
York.
I don't care. He's from New York. I think he's from Nassau County on Long Island. Not where I'm from, but where I'm from is totally red now anyway. You have Laura Gillen, New York. You got Don Davis, a black man, North Carolina. And then you have Vicente Gonzalez, and he is also from Texas. Folks, these kinds of Democrats, go ahead and run them out of town. These people do not deserve to have a D behind their name. Why? Like when, and so let me just go on a rant for a second, because Democrats want to talk about, oh, we have a big tent, right? They want to talk about, oh, everybody is welcome. Here's what I'm saying. No, the fuck you are not, right? We have a litmus test now. We have a values test. We have a morality test. And at the very, very bare minimum, stop fucking providing billions of dollars to an organization and a department that is killing people, raping people, detaining fucking children, blinding people, and pepper spraying people that are American citizens. I don't even give a fuck if they are American citizens, because that is not how any department inside of these United States should be operating. And now, just FYI, because fuck Ezra Klein and all of those fucking centrist Democrats that made millions of fucking dollars, like just toting the fucking talking points of the establishment. Ezra Klein, this is the way you beat Trump and Trumpism. Thank you, Emma, for posting this and reminding us of who Ezra Klein is. She says 2 of Ezra Klein's favorite Democrats, who he believes should be just as influential as AOC and Mamdani within the party, just voted to increase ICE funding as they are kidnapping children, shooting mothers in the face, and killing and raping immigrants in concentration camps. This is what the fuck Ezra Klein wrote. But what happened over the past 15 years is that the Democratic Party has made room on its left and closed down on its right. For all the talk of what the Democratic Party should learn from Sanders and Mamdani, there should be at least as much talk of what they should learn from Manchin or Golden or Glusenkamp Perez. The party should be seeking more, not less, internal disagreement. Fuck you, Ezra Klein.
Vichy Democrats, folks, and I'm going to take it a step further. Can you go back to the names real quick? I want to highlight one name and make my quick case. All right. Look at that name, Henry Cuellar. Name sound familiar? Henry Cuellar is a man who was just pardoned by Donald Trump because he was involved in a massive bribery scandal. Henry Cuellar is the centrist Democrat that Nancy Pelosi whipped votes for. Henry Cuellar was a strong on-border, anti-abortion Democrat that Nancy Pelosi said, vote for this guy instead of the young Latina progressive candidate who was gaining steam 3 years ago, Jessica Cisneros. Henry Cuellar then gets elected, corrupt as F, gets pardoned. And you know what the establishment Democrats said? Come back to your seat, because you know what? We have no litmus test. When it comes to fraud and being pardoned and being corrupt as F, that's okay. Oh, you're Mamdani, you go against the billionaires, we're going to destroy you. I want you just to look at this list, listen to what Danielle said, see who supported them, see who whipped votes for them. And I want you to finally, because you know, people might think we're crazy, we're too this, we're too that. Are these centrists your friend? Are these corporate Democrats your friend? Are these Vichy Democrats your friend? What do you need these people for? Why, oh, why do you keep saying, go to the center, why? For this? So they can fund DHS. To infuriate you more, for those who haven't followed the story, the vote passed 220 to 213. Do the math. That means if 220 to 207, excuse me, 220 to 207. Do the math, Danielle. If these seven Democrats had voted against it, what would be the numbers?
It would have been 214 to 213. Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah. So this is what I'm saying.
Danielle, vote blue no matter who. Vote blue no matter what.
I don't want a big tent. I don't want a big tent. I don't want anybody that is going to put my values on a chopping block. I don't want anybody that's going to negotiate on my back. I don't want a big tent. I want to be in a party with people who share my values and will stand 10 toes down on them. And that is not who the establishment Democrats are. And as a matter of fact, finally, Salon, right? The outlet, the news outlet Salon, has a piece up today that says Democrats need to get rid of their leadership.
Oh,
If
really?
we are to, yes, today they have a piece up at Salon that says Democrats need to get rid of their leadership with a big picture of Hakeem Jeffries and Chuck Schumer. Why? Because the leadership ain't doing dick for you. Okay.
And well, one real quick before we talk about the audit of what ICE has been doing, about the leadership real quick. So Hakeem Jeffries saw where the wind was blowing, and it leaked that he himself would not vote for to support this. But then we got another source right after that leak that I'm sure he leaked, his office leaked, that said, yeah, but he won't whip up votes
Right.
against it either.
So let me tell you something. Yesterday, somebody wanted to like come at me on one of the social media platforms and say, you know, that Hakeem Jeffries is the minority leader. He's not the whip. And I swear to God, I had to stop myself because like, I don't owe anybody any receipts on like my fucking resume. But just FYI, when Nancy Pelosi wanted shit done and wanted Democrats to vote in lockstep, guess what she fucking did? Got on the call with anybody, got on the phone and called anybody that was on the fucking fence, because when she was running the party, if you didn't vote in lockstep with her, you were going to be on the outs in a big fucking way. So Hakeem Jeffries doesn't need to have whip by his name to whip the votes. He is the fucking minority leader, and it is his job to hold his fucking caucus in line. The only reason why he came out and said that, oh, he wasn't going to fund ISIS, the same reason Chuck Schumer said, oh, I'm going to vote against opening up the government, because he knew that the government was going to be open because he already had the 8 senators that were going to vote to open up the government. And it's the same shit that Hakeem Jeffries did. He knew that these 7 fucking representatives were going to vote with Republicans because, oh, they're in complicated districts. Fuck them. I would rather have Republicans than have Democrats that vote like Republicans, because there's no fucking difference. Speaking of which, so just so you know, that on top of the bloated, disgusting, grotesque budget that DHS now has, they also have the ability to kick in your fucking front door and pull you out in your underwear, as we saw them do with a elderly man in Minnesota in sub-degree temperatures. A leaked memo shows ICE agents have been authorized by the Trump administration to illegally force entry into homes throughout America without a judicial warrant. Didn't matter anyway, because they were already signing their own names and lying. Not only is this illegal, but it is a violation of the U.S. Constitution, undermining the Fourth Amendment protections. Below, you see the leaked ICE memo, as well as the whistleblower report that was leaked by a member of Congress. Imagine if Biden did this, how outraged Republicans would be. Don't tread on me.
Don't tread on me. But hey, even though this is why the Second Amendment was created, according to them, even though this is why they need guns to protect themselves from government overreach and tyranny, we know what happened when the Black Panther Party did this in Oakland in the 60s. We had gun control because Governor Reagan and the NRA decided, whoa, blacks, this was just for the whites. It's the whites and law enforcement and the white mob and the KKK and the slave patrol that can carry guns. Not you blacks, not you indigenous Americans, not you Latinos. Let's do the Mulford Act, excuse me. And then you got gun control that was advocated by NRA, Republicans, and Reagan. But now, I don't know if you've seen, Danielle, the Black Panther Party has come out in Minnesota. And have you seen these videos of all these, like, just like,
Love to see
average
it.
white dudes We're like, hey man, I saw the Black Panther Party. That's pretty dope. I went and
Yeah.
got a gun.
And I saw a video of a white guy who had an AR-15
Yeah, I saw that.
and on his front lawn. And reporters came up to him and said, what are what is this about? And he goes, look, he's like, I'm about protecting my neighbors, and
Right.
I'm about protecting my neighborhood. You don't see me rolling up in somebody else's neighborhood with this gun, but I'm sure as hell going to use it in mine, and I have a right to carry. And I'm saying, you know what? I am and have been anti-gun, but if that is your jam, it is your constitutional right to carry.
That's
If you are
absolutely true.
in a open carry state, as Minnesota is, it is your right to open carry. So
I'm a
go
California
with
guy.
God.
I've never owned guns, but I'm telling you, man, if they were putting hands on my neighbors, on my kids, on my neighbors' kids, I would have a whole bunch of brown and black folks, all my neighbors, white folks, Latinos. We'd go out. We were in open carry. Go buy the biggest gun, smile on my face, put the gun around my neck, and just walk with a
Because this
smile.
is this is
With a
this is
smile.
what this is what this is what this has come to. Do you know what I'm saying? This is why, in all honesty, we had the right to bear arms, was in case your government turned against you. Newsflash, our government has turned against us, right? They see us as what, Waj? The enemy from within. They see us as the homegrowns, as Donald Trump told us to the president of El Salvador. The homegrowns are next, right? And there's only a matter of time before ICE runs up in the wrong fucking house and the wrong fucking neighborhood, before it is, guns a blazing. And then I want to hear from Republicans then, who it was the whatever it was. What's the white nationalist paper? The Daily something?
Yeah, Daily Stormer.
The Daily Stormer. So they took a picture of a young black guy in Minnesota, a white woman next to him, strapped with his gun, and they said, warning, this is happening right now in Minnesota. All of the comments on social media was just like, where are all the right to carry folks? I'm
Yeah.
confused. I thought guns were your jam.
And what's going to happen, folks, is, I was talking to someone yesterday about this. I'm forgetting who was in the left hook. Eventually, what's going to happen is all the hypocrisies, all the double standards are being revealed, right? They have nothing to grasp on anymore, right? They can't pivot. They can't distract anymore. So what's going to happen is, as the shells get removed, as the layers get removed, we're going to get to the kernel, right? Where they're eventually just going to say, it's almost there. Guns are for white people, not for you. Violence is for us,
Yep.
not for you. Freedom is for us, not for you. Safe spaces are for us, not for you. We don't care about you. You come from a shithole country. You're not an American. And this is a white supremacist country. They're almost there, folks. Have you seen it? The more and more we just strip away all the fallacies, all the bullshit, all the arguments, the more and more they're just coming out with the Nazi slogans. They're coming out. Now, the sad part is it's being mainstream now. The Overton window is shifting, and there's no shame. There's no dog whistles. But at the core of it is everything we've been saying on democracyish for the past 3 years. It is a white supremacist regime. And what they're going to say, without saying it, as Daniel just said, is black, brown, no guns for you. Guns only for whites to terrorize you.
Bin, right? Because, somebody had posted in the chat all of the names of top of the head, all of the names of unarmed black people that were shot and killed by police just over the last several years. And let us be clear that Trayvon Martin had a Arizona iced tea, and he was shot and killed. We had people who, they were holding up their cell phone. Oh, I thought it was a gun, shot and killed, right? So we know that it has always been that violence and the right to a weapon has always been solely for white people. John Crawford was holding a gun in a Walmart to purchase. He was shot and killed in the aisle of Walmart, right? So folks need to remember this shit. and remember that it's always about the hypocrisy. They don't give a fuck. And it's almost like, why do we even bother calling it out? But here we are with this sweet baby, Liam Ramos, who I swear to you, like, it was very hard for me this week, as I'm sure it was for a lot of people, to see him being handled by these thugs, by these slave patrollers. The audacity of them to use this baby as bait. I was an elementary and early childhood educator, and I cannot imagine the fear that this little boy has right now, that his family has right now. And like, and the fact that JD Vance, and I'm not playing any of these videos because I'm really honestly sick of hearing their fucking voices this week. The fact that JD Vance had the audacity again to just lie like he breathes, to say that, oh, I want to jump to it. Well, I'm proud of the fact we're standing behind law enforcement. The 5-year-old was not arrested. His dad was an illegal alien. So the story is that ICE detained a 5-year-old. What are they supposed to do? You took the child out of a running car. There was family members inside of the house because he was coming home from preschool, being dropped off from preschool, begging the ICE agents to leave the child with the family, and you chose not to, and then got on national television and lied to the American people and said that ICE rescued Liam Ramos because he was alone and freezing in a driveway. You are a fucking liar.
And
And
he
there's
has
not a
also,
big enough place in hell for you.
and he has 2 brown-skinned kids. One of them named Vivek, and Usha, his Hindu American wife, is pregnant. Go back to that kid real quick if you can. The child, Liam. It could very well be that JD Vance's third kid looks like this kid, and ICE can mistake him and pick him up. And when it's JD Vance's kid, then he'll care. But if it's our kids, JD Vance, Bovino, the White House, right wing media, and the 7 Democrats are saying, business as usual.
I mean, it's just, it's sickening. This is an image
Look at
of
this.
I just this like again, it's very hard for me to look at these images all week and show them all week. You're already subdued, and this is what ICE agents are doing to people. And then we talked to you already about the fact that the autopsy that was commissioned by Renee Good's family found that the first 2 wounds that she sustained were not life threatening. The third one, because it wasn't enough for that son of a bitch to shoot her once, not twice, but 3 times, the third shot was directly to her head and came out the other side. But again, as we said earlier, hospital officials and administrators have come out and said that she had a pulse, and that for 8 minutes was denied care, was denied an ambulance, and in that time she died.
Yep. And not only that, we've seen the video where there's a doctor on the side and says, "Can I please come in and check on her?" And he said, "F you, F off." He's like, listen, I'm a doctor. You've seen the video, right? I'm a
Yep.
doctor. They're like, "No." And they sat there and smiled and laughed and thought it was great. And her murderer just calmly gets in his car and drives away.
And so here's the thing. They want to tell you that they're not Nazis, and yet they cosplay and dress like them. And
This is a choice by Greg Bavino. Look at the haircut. Look at the trench coat that he wore. That's an SS uniform, Danielle.
well, you know, this is real life. This is real life. This is where we have. This is where we are. And then that brings us to this. Who is the biggest source of misinformation and disinformation in this country? The White House.
Oh, White House.
White House posts altered photo showing arrested Minnesota protester crying. The New York Times ran the image through an AI detection system and concluded that it shows signs of manipulation.
Huh.
This is civil rights attorney Nikema Levy Armstrong after speaking at an anti-ICE rally in St. Paul, Minnesota on Monday. The Justice Department said on Thursday morning that it had taken her into custody, accusing her of helping to interrupt a church service in St. Paul. So here is the actual photo with their bullshit doctored photo. The White House has confirmed its official X account posted a fake image of a woman arrested in Minnesota after interrupting services at a church when ICE officials appears to be a pastor. The White House image altered the actual photo to wrongly make it seem like the defendant was sobbing, as if that was like an admission of guilt, right? And regret. I want you to understand that there is nothing that this administration, this regime detests more than strong, defiant, brilliant Black women. And so the very fact that, one, she knew she was going to be arrested. She was prepared to be arrested. And her real photo, you see the defiance in her face. But they need it to seem as if, look at the white man breaking down this Black woman. One, she had makeup on. They remove the makeup from her face and alter her as just crippled and crying. That is not the image. That is not who she is, but it's who they need her to be. And ask yourselves why that is. Watch.
And the fact that the White House posted it. This is a white supremacist authoritarian regime that loathes Black and brown people. And folks, now you've seen they loathe women and white women. In particular, anyone who goes against them is the enemy. Fascists turn on everyone. It first starts with the lowest hanging fruit. And we're not the lowest hanging fruit, but what I mean is the most marginalized communities. But then they need a 24/7 injection of hate. You need a perpetual enemy. And that's how the right-wing outrage machine works, right? They need a perpetual enemy. You got to give them something. Now they're addicted. M&Ms, a Black Little Mermaid,
Cheerios,
pronouns,
Legos,
Cheerios, Colin Kaepernick. What's next? Somalis. Look, and they move on. Like, okay,
Haitians eating dogs and cat, like
dogs, cats, white lesbians, white moms, white suburban moms, right? And eventually what happens? They turn on each other. But how does it begin? First they came for, and then they came for, and then they came for, and then when they came for me, there was nobody left. So who have they always come for? Who do they hate with a passion? Donald Trump hates Black people. He hates women. He hates Black women. Kamala Harris, Ilhan Omar. There is a reason why they have fixated their hate on Ilhan Omar. Black woman, Muslim, hijab, was once a refugee, a perfect trifecta of a manufactured villain for them. And unlike these weak pieces of shit and these weak cankled men, she doesn't flinch. She does not flinch. Look what they just unleash against her, and she usually has a smile on her face, which pisses them off even more, Danielle.
And so I just want to bring this up because you're also a reformed lawyer, and so I wanted you to weigh in on what the New York Times has said. As the case proceeds, Miss Armstrong's lawyers, right, could use the doctored photos to accuse the Trump administration of making what are known as improper extrajudicial statements. Most federal courts bar prosecutors from making any remarks about court filings or legal proceedings outside of a court in a way that could prejudice the pool of jurors who might ultimately hear the case. Miss Levy Armstrong's lawyers could also claim that the photo was evidence that the Justice Department bore some sort of animus against her and filed the charges vindictively. A motion of that kind could, in theory, result in the charges one day being dismissed. I wanted to get Your thoughts as our esteemed attorney.
Absolutely. I mean, not esteemed, but recovering attorney. Sure, absolutely. That's evidence. And not only that, now you have a pattern of conduct of malicious prosecution, and you can now say that the Justice Department has not just done this against my client, but we've seen this with Don Lemon, we've seen this with Alyssa Slotkin, we've seen this with Senator Kelly, we've seen this with Jerome Powell. And by that time, when it comes up, I'm sure Letitia James,
Right.
many of these criminal complaints have been dismissed by the judge, right? They haven't even gone to like pre-trial or to post-trial. Like they've all of a sudden, like what happened to Don Lemon, the judge side goes, no, done, right? And so now the fact that this tweet is still up by this White House and this Justice Department, they could be like, this is a pattern of behavior, especially against women, critics, Black women. And a judge, if they aren't corrupt, could be like, yeah, it's done, dismissing it.
Yeah. So, as we close out today, when Donald Trump landed in Davos for the World Economic Forum, he was met with a solidarity movement of the European nations, basically saying, if you come for one of us, you come for all of us. And the deal that he had on the table from last summer with regard to tariffs, they said, we're not signing it. We're not operationalizing it unless you keep your hands off of Greenland, right? So we thought, okay, well, Donald Trump is backing down, which he did. He did what he normally does. Trump always chickens out, taco. And yet, yesterday, because he once again can't stop himself, maybe we should have put NATO to the test, invoked Article 5, and forced NATO to come here and protect our southern border from further invasions of illegal immigrants, thus freeing up large numbers of Border Patrol agents for other tasks. Midas touch. He doesn't realize how weak he looks. An international embarrassment, a pariah, a loser.
And also stupid and also dangerous and also echoing the talking point, which is wrong, and even the Supreme Court said was incorrect, that we're somehow under invasion from immigrants. And if you're under invasion from immigrants, which is the talking point of Stephen Miller in the summer, he said this is why we have to use the Alien Enemies Act, which was used to what? Intern Japanese Americans during World War II. And what has he threatened to use yet again? The Insurrection Act. And what have we always warned? That will be a precursor to martial law. This is what they think of the rest of us. It's no longer just Palestinians, Muslims, Black people, Haitians, Somalians. They're going after white Americans. They're going after anyone and everyone who dares resist them. And as I've said before, and I'll say again, if they can murder an unarmed white woman and then call her a terrorist and then try to cover up their murder of this woman, and it's on camera and the world has seen it, and they still try to gaslight you, what will they do to you? And what happens if no one is there to actually document your torture, your abuse, your kidnapping? This is what happens in fascist regimes. You have to wake up. All the people of color who voted for Donald Trump, I know some of you, how's your rosé tasting? Your Tesla, your tax cuts, was it worth it? All the white folks who felt like, I gotta go vote for Donald Trump because these blacks and browns are gonna be replacing us. How do you feel now, right? Do you feel safer? Is it worth it to destroy trans kids? Is it worth it to go after undocumented? Do you feel better now? How's the economy? How's the price of eggs? Do you feel better with measles around the corner? It's done. We effed up. This country destroyed itself, but we're not completely destroyed yet. We have the numbers. Donald Trump is negative double
But
digits.
let's just look very
The New York.
quickly. So you have the ICE numbers. You can see the ICE numbers.
Tell him what the ICE. This is from last week. The
This is
Siena poll came out yesterday, but this is last week's number.
this is last week numbers. All negative 27. All people negative 27% on ICE approval. Right? You can
Negative
see it.
20.
Negative 27, not negative 10, not negative 1, negative 27%. Then now, Waj, run through all of the ways in which Donald Trump is underwater quickly.
He's negative. He's double digits underwater when it comes to. Well, I can't see for some reason. Wait. I'm back. Here we go. He's negative double digits on immigration, which used to be his strongest plank. He's
17.
negative double digits on the economy, negative 18. Negative double digits on foreign relations ever since he decided to, I don't know, invade Venezuela, kidnap Maduro, and threaten Canada and NATO. Negative 29 on the cost of living. Negative 44 on the Epstein files, which is why I've always said that is his greatest Achilles cankel and the biggest club that we have. And if I was a Democrat, I would release anything from the Epstein estate on the Epstein files, because he's willing to go to war to cover up God knows what he did in those files. And he's also now negative 44, negative 45 on the invasion of Greenland. These are actually some nice numbers, the New York Times. In some other polls, he's in the negative 20s on immigration, negative 20s on the economy, negative 20s on foreign relations. He's weak. The approval numbers are in the high 30s, 36 to 38. He's negative 27 on ICE. And going back full circle, with those numbers, Danielle, what justifies Democrats not coming out and saying abolish ICE? And what justifies those 7 Democrats voting to fund DHS? It's because they choose to do it.
Yep.
And with Democrats like this, you're telling me we have to vote blue no matter who? I'm done. This is my litmus test. I'll end with my litmus test because I shared it with Ro Khanna yesterday. I'll share it with all of you. This is my litmus test. It's not all the issues. We could talk about that later. My litmus test is the following. If there's a Democrat who doesn't follow this litmus test, I will do everything in my power to crush them during the primary season. No specific order. Number 1, I know you got the affordability message. Not enough for me. I need you to fight for affordability and accountability. Listen to accountability.
Come on.
If they're not willing to go for accountability, you're not my guy. Because what you're telling me without telling me is you're going to go for restoration. You're going to give me Merrick Garland. Is it going to be the same old, same old? And in 2032, we're going to have a Nazi president because of your failed feckless ass. Accountability and affordability. Number 2, abolish ICE. I'm done. I've been saying it for a while. Danielle's been saying it for a while. We weren't crazy. We were right. Told you so. Now you saw it. I'm not interested in reform. Say whatever you want. Bring it down. Do over. Replace. Fine. You want to do all the synonyms? Abolish ICE. Number 3, I refuse to believe that you will fight fascism at home if you support fascism abroad. If you still support the Israeli genocide, I'm done with you. I'm done with you. And I know you're bought off by AIPAC and corporate donors. Bye. Number 4, tax the wealthy, tax the billionaires, something about taking on the oligarchy. If you're unwilling to do it, I know who your masters are. I'm done with you. And then finally, number 5, this is my litmus test. I'm using the word litmus test. I'm going to pay attention to who you throw under the bus. If you throw trans athletes under the bus, Black women under the bus, Palestinians under the bus, students under the bus, Somalis under the bus, I know that means you'll throw me under the bus the next week. So I need you to fight for everyone. If you're going to throw someone under the bus, you're not my fighter. Those are my 5 litmus tests, Danielle.
I'm on board. I'm on board with Waj's litmus test. I'm on board. There is no more negotiations to be had with these people. It is very fucking easy. And the only thing if you're taking any corporate money, I don't want you. I don't want you. No corporate money, definitely no fucking AIPAC money. You're not going to sit there as Gavin Newsom did and say that, there's no genocide in Israel, as we don't even have the real numbers. The numbers that are floating around is that 63,000 people have been murdered, women, children, and men. And that, I'm sure, is the tip of the fucking tip of the iceberg. It is a low number. So, folks, we're not doing vote blue no matter who. Not on this show. Not ever again. We're going to be strategic about our choices. We're going to demand what we deserve, and we're not going to take anything less. We're going to look at people's records. We're going to have long memories. We're not going to allow ourselves to forget who those 7 were, who voted to open up the government, who continues to negotiate on our back. Remember, come November.
Oh, I like it. And Matt, can I just end on this real quick?
Yeah.
They're counting on you to be desperate. The calculation has already been made. We have them in a headlock. If it's between us and Donald Trump, they're not going to choose fascism. They'll vote for us. Look, these special elections, even though our brand is toxic and even though our brand approval rating is below Donald Trump, we're still winning elections. we don't have to actually promise or guarantee transformation. They'll vote for us and our corporate donors will be happy. Now you say, watch, that's conspiratorial. Okay. Ken Martin, the head of the DNC, 2 weeks ago decided to renege on his promise and said, we're not going to release the autopsy of why we lost 2024.
Right. Right. Why is that, you think? Why?
Because if we release the autopsy, it would reveal all the talking points that you and I just said as part of our litmus test. They're part of a big club. They would rather support Cuomo than Mamdani. They still are in bed with APEC and corporate money. Billionaires are giving more and more money. They get all the money from Silicon Valley and crypto, and they will choose restoration instead of reformation. And they have made the calculation. We can go along with business as usual. We have Americans in a headlock. We don't need to be popular. They'll still vote for us. And I want them to be terrified. I want them to realize we've woken up. We're not going to be terrorized by them. And I need a primary. We need to go after and take out a big elephant, like what the Republicans did in 2014. Eric Cantor walked in, I'm the future of the party. And the Republicans are like, no, right here in Virginia, we're going to replace you with this freak David Brett. We need another Mamdani to come in and just take out the establishment head. That's my take.
All right, folks. That is it for us here on Democracy-ish. I want to say thank you to the super stickers and super thanks. Jimmy in the middle of nowhere, Tina, Calibri, Brick, Margaret, Real Talk, Mr. Will, Ghostface Killer becoming a member for 2 months, Blue Lady, Susan, our awesome moderator, Mr. Will again. Thank you all so much for your donations. This is independent media. Every single dollar counts. It's the reason why Waj and I keep our content free, because we want critical thinkers. We want people who are strategic, and we can't possibly risk you not being able to access the information that you need by putting up paywalls. So we are people powered, and it is your dollars that allow us to do the work that we do. Waj, everyone in the comment section was talking about how amazing your interview was with Ro Khanna, so I got to go watch that. What else you got going on for the day?
First and foremost, go subscribe to Danielle Moody's Substack, daniellemoody.substack.com, Damn Digest, and also her YouTube channel at Danielle Moody. I also have a YouTube channel where I just literally just put everything up for free. So if you like watching this on YouTube or Substack, it's the Left Hook Substack, and it's also at YouTube with Jhat Lee. We have specials on right now. Myself and Danielle, like she said, we're people powered, so we depend on the kindness of people. If you have some money, we have a New Year's Terrible Capitalist special, 25% off. It's about $3.75 a month forever, $37 a year. It's about as cheap as, I think, might be the cheapest Substacks on the market. I mean, it's beyond cheap because everything's free. So,
right.
If you can give, if you've been watching us and you can give and subscribe and become paid subscriber, it goes a long way. In 2 minutes, I have a really good conversation. I recommend it. Well, Danielle, are you doing something in 2 minutes or no?
I was going to eat.
Okay, good. Well, I was going to say, if Danielle's not streaming or talking, but I got Robbie Jones of PRRI. I think you know Robbie Jones. Robbie Jones.
Oh, I don't.
Yeah, Public Religious Research Institute, and he has written the book on white supremacy and white Christian church. He comes from those communities, and he's done all the research about the intersection of religion with MAGA. And we're going to have him on to talk about this white supremacist moment and why so many white Christian Americans are down with Donald Trump and what's their end game. And so if you don't know the long arc and the long plan, Robbie does this inside and out. He knows this stuff. He's a fantastic resource.
All right, so jump off of here, go to Substack to Waj's The Left Hook. Folks, we will be back on Monday, 12 p.m. Eastern. Folks, take care of yourselves. Please prepare for this winter storm if you are in its tracks. Please don't wait until the last minute, and also don't hoard a bunch of shit.
Be safe, guys.
But be safe. Take care of yourselves. Take care of each other. And as Waj always says, please, oh please, don't be a fascist. We'll see you back here Monday, 12 p.m. Eastern. All be well.